Hi there, it's Jonathan Bocher from PlayGuitar.com, and today we're going to learn the notes on the guitar. Super important topic that a lot of people kind of think, oh, I don't need to know the note names, I just want to know how to play, right? Well, knowing the notes really makes a big difference to playing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit further. But first things first, what are the string names? Because each of these string names has an associated pitch that it's tuned to, and that pitch is given a name, a letter name. Well, we'll start here. The highest in pitch means like how you hear it, right? The highest in pitch is the first string, which happens to be the string closest to the ground. That's the E string, okay? So first string, E. The second string, logically, is the next string along, and that one's tuned to B. Third string is G. Fourth string is D. Fifth string is A. And the sixth string is another E. But you'll notice that this one is 2 octaves in pitch lower than the high E. So we call it high E, even though it's low physically. So if you're thinking in terms of low-high, in terms of where, physical position on the guitar, get that totally out of your mind. That concept does not apply on the guitar. We refer to things in terms of low and high in terms of their pitch. And that's a lower pitch note than that one is. So this is our low string, okay? So the strings typically, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but we always number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 being the lowest note. But when we talk about this string, about the tuning, we always approach the strings from the other direction, from lowest to highest. So standard tuning on a guitar is E, A, D, G, B, and E. And we start with the low E. A couple ways to remember this. You can come up with an acronym that helps you. Eat all day, get big early, or get big easy. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. There's tons and tons of different acronyms that people come up with to help them remember the string names. That's good initially, but trust me, once if you make a point of tuning your guitar every day when you practice, hopefully you're going to learn the string names pretty quickly. Okay, that's our starting point, okay? Now, what we've done is we've learned our letter names for our open notes. How do we get to a note that is not used with one of the open notes, right? For instance, we never said anything about an F sharp. So how do you find an F sharp on this guitar fretboard? Well, we come to these two things called tones and semitones. And really they are the key to unlocking the whole fretboard. A tone is the distance between a letter name. For instance, from A to B is a tone. There's 7 letter names in the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats. Okay, so if you hear people talking about an octave, it's because it repeats. The A repeats after we get to G. And there's a low E, and there's a high E. It's the same note, but one is lower in pitch and the other is higher in pitch. So the tone is the distance between the letter name, but there's also a thing called semitones. And a semitone is half of the distance. All of the tones, all of the letter names have a semitone in between them, with the exception of between B and C and E and F. And those are natural semitones. And I'll show you what we mean in just a second. For instance, here we are on the 6th string. We've got an E. Well, if we go up by 1 semitone, now, easy way to remember it on the guitar, every fret is equal to 1 semitone. So every time you move up 1 fret, you're moving up 1 semitone. So if you have a letter name anywhere, or a note anywhere on the guitar, if you move up 1 fret, you're going up 1 semitone. If you go down 1 fret, you're going down 1 semitone. And because semi is half, if you go up 2 frets, you've gone up 1 tone or a whole tone. or a full tone. And if you're going down 2 frets, you're going down a tone. So we're starting here on the E. Then if we go to the 1st fret on the 6th string, that gives us an F, because remember I said between E and F is a natural semitone. It's a naturally occurring semitone. From there, we're going to go up 1 more fret to the 2nd fret, and at this point here, we find an F sharp, because all of the letter names have that semitone in between them, with the exception of B and C and E and F. F to G, we've got that halfway mark, right? So that's an F sharp. Keep on going. We get to a G on the 3rd fret, G sharp on the 4th fret, and an A on the 5th fret. And we can keep on going all the way up the fretboard if we want, right? We've got A sharp, B, C, there we go, B to C, no semitone in between, C sharp, D on the 10th fret, D sharp, and E. So we come back full circle and we get back up to our E again. But this E is 1 octave higher in pitch than the low E. Now we could apply the exact same thing to the 5th string, starting on the A, and go through the whole thing, right? A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A. So we've covered natural notes. The natural notes are the ones that don't have sharp or flat behind them. And we've covered sharps. Sharp simply means raising the note by a semitone. So G raised by a semitone becomes G sharp. One thing we haven't talked about yet is flats. And that's the exact opposite of sharps. And it's simply lowering the note by 1 semitone. So if we go from G and we want a G flat, we go down 1 semitone and we get G flat. Now you'll notice here that this particular note, we've already said that that was an F sharp. Well, that's true. That particular note, that pitch, can be referred to as both an F sharp or a G flat. It really depends on the key that you're using at the time. Keys are either sharp or flat. They either contain sharps or they contain flats. You can't mix and match between sharps and flats and keys. It gets really, really confusing, and it's a big no-no. But there's reasons for how you figure out what key a particular song is in, and I get into that in my Unlocking 145 course, which you can find at PlayGuitar.com. But that's way beyond the topic for today. So if you go E, F, F sharp, or G flat, G, G sharp, or A flat, right? You can carry on all throughout the fretboard. Now, you can easily then apply your tones and semitones and find out any note on the entire guitar fretboard. Later on, we'll cover all kinds of cool patterns that can really help you figure out the notes more quickly on your fretboard, but I'll give you one right now. It's a really super useful pattern. Okay, here's an A, right? We talked about that already. 5th fret of the 6th string. If we want to find the octave of this A, you go down. Sorry, I'm saying down, but it should be up. You go up 2 strings to the 4th string, and then up 2 frets. Okay, up 2 strings, up 2 frets. That's an octave. This here is another A. So if you apply this one was D, 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th string is a D. Up 2 strings, up 2 frets. That's another D. So you can see if we apply this, you can cut your memorization really just down to memorizing the 2 strings. First off, you know your E here. If you figure that one out, well, the 1st string is identical. All the note names are identical, so there knocks off 1 string. If you know your octave pattern, you can basically knock out the 4th string because everything is related, just shifted by 2 frets from your 6th string. And then if you learn your 5th string, You can use your octave pattern there too, right? Now the only one you're going to run into problems with is the B string, the second string. All of these strings use this nice octave pattern because they're all tuned in fourths, and that's a little bit beyond the subject of today. But and again, I get into that in my Unlocking 145 course. But the B string is not tuned to a fourth; it's tuned to a third instead, and so that throws off our little octave pattern, but only by 1 fret. So what we got to do now is instead we can still go down 2 strings, but we got to go up 3 frets now instead of 2. And then we get our octave again. So you apply that anytime you're crossing the B string. In other words, if you're landing on the B string, you have to apply that rule. Or if you're using the E string and you're crossing through the B string, then you have to apply that rule as well. Right, hopefully that's been useful for you in terms of how you can approach your guitar fretboard and learn all the notes. Don't go away yet. I got one more bit of advice / homework for you, okay? Now, if you go to PlayGuitar.com, or you can visit the link underneath this video if you're on YouTube, you can download this handy little cheat sheet. Okay, this is a worksheet, and as you can see, it's got 3 blank fretboards, guitar fretboards on there. It's got the nice EADGBE labeling on the top of each of them. And what I would like you to do, if you want to learn the notes on your fretboard really, really well, is simply go through and fill out all of the note positions on this worksheet once a day. And do it until you dream about these things, until you see them in your sleep. You see a fretboard in your sleep. This was really effective for me personally when I was learning the fretboard. That's what my guitar teacher at the time recommended to me, and I did it. I remember we were going on a trip somewhere as a family to, an hour away or something. I just took a whole bunch of these things in the car and I just filled them out. And that 1 hour that I spent really made a huge difference in how I understood the fretboard, because just filling it out, you begin to see patterns, you begin to really get used to where the different notes are and the positions and stuff like that. Take the time and do it. Probably if you did it every day for a week, my guess is you'll be awesome at the fretboard. Or just pile it all into one day. Doesn't matter to me, whatever works for you. So anyways, it's Jonathan here from PlayGuitar.com signing off. Have yourself a great day.